All right, so you're already posting on one social platform and you want to get your content on in more places. This is how I personally do it and how I help my clients do it. And in case you're wondering if it's worth it, Derek Sivers just came out with this article where he says, I was inconsiderate, but now I'm everywhere. And he basically says people like consuming content in their own way. And so if you have something good, then why not put it everywhere and make it easy for people to consume it in the way that they want to consume it? So that's the idea. Now, high level, you can see this is my content calendar for the last month. The way that I recommend doing this is treating one platform as your primary platform, where you create a lot of net new content, and then all of the other platforms kind of feed off of that main platform that you're creating content on. So in my case, that's LinkedIn. Those are these blue posts. So I put most of my focus on LinkedIn. Why? Because it's the platform that's performing best for me. And then I leverage that LinkedIn content in a lot of different ways. So I'm going to show you some of those today. So let's start though with the LinkedIn posts themselves. So how I do that is I will create a Notion page like this and I'll break it up by week. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And you can see I've already completed these ones. They have the media, they have the posts, they have everything. Some of these are already live. Week 2. You can see them here. Awesome. Now, week 3 and 4, you'll notice that I have a little bit built out already. So week 4, new viral giveaway. This is one that I do every week. Expanded tweet. That's one I do every week. So as I'm testing things on Twitter, which is a secondary platform for me, I take the highest performer, I use it as a screenshot, and I expand on it on LinkedIn. A condensed newsletter. And so I'll often, newsletters another secondary platform for me, but I'll go deeper on things there, and I'll take some of the concepts in there and I'll turn it into a LinkedIn post. Lead magnet to carousel. So I've created a ton of these lead magnets for these viral giveaway posts, 30 plus, and so I can turn those into a post and a carousel. A lesson from a recent call. That is, I have Fireflies record all of my client calls, and I could just extract lessons from there and talk about them. Podcast or YouTube clip. So I post YouTube videos like this one, and I am starting a podcast, launching a podcast soon. And so I'm going to have a ton of content clips and ideas in there. And then I also read. I'm a total marketing nerd, and so I like doing a roundup of, maybe it's a roundup of a bunch of different marketing materials, or maybe I watched one marketing video that I thought had some really good insights, and I'll curate it and say, what those insights were. And so I basically just break that up every week. This was coming from a YouTube video, but it makes it really easy for me to know, what am I actually going to talk about? Next step here would be going a little bit further and saying, okay, what's the concept and what newsletter am I pulling from? What's the lead magnet and which one am I going to pull from? What call am I going to pull from? Which YouTube video at what time, what clip am I going to take? What material am I going to take? So that would be the first thing, is figuring those out. And then from there, I could write the post and I could leverage, if I have my lead magnet already, I could literally just copy, paste, and say, give me the carousel text, use my carousel text generator skill to create the carousel text, work on a hook, have a draft post. That would be a very easy one because I already have all of the source material. This, as a lesson from a recent call, would take maybe a little, I don't necessarily, I could download the transcript and say, what are some different interesting insights from this? And then I'd have to choose one and write it up. Wouldn't take that long though. You get the idea. So that's how I'm creating the actual LinkedIn content. A lot of this is net new. Occasionally I'll do something repurposed. So tomorrow and Friday, I've got a post that I've written before about a CEO that DMs me asking for help and how to get more views on LinkedIn. And so those are 2 posts of 7 this week that I'm repurposing. And that's just if I'm feeling a little extra busy, I'll often repurpose a little bit more, but I'll often repurpose 1 to 2 posts a week, and then a lot of them are net new. Okay, now we've got LinkedIn, my main platform, covered. So what's next? Next is tweets. And so what I love about Twitter is there's no images, there's no video. I mean, there are, but it's mostly just short ideas. And so if you can validate an idea on Twitter, it means it's probably going to work everywhere else. Whereas the reverse is not always true. And so what I like to do is I like to take a lot of ideas that are top of mind for me, but also a lot of the ideas I've written about previously on LinkedIn and condense those into shorter ideas and basically break them down. So I'll give you an idea of what that looks like. So I have my assistant come in here. You can see it's kind of messy, but he'll grab like 15 different LinkedIn posts that I've done. And he will create, I guess you won't be able to see this because I just did it yesterday. He'll basically have AI try to repurpose it into a tweet format, and he'll give me 5 different options, and then I'll go in and I'll choose and I'll adjust it. And so I have the end result. These are the tweets that are actually going to go out. So you can see they're all a little bit different. If I have some that are top of mind, I'll throw them in there, and I'll just say another. And my assistant will go and schedule all of these, okay? So that's how every week I'm getting, like, I don't have to start with a blank page. I have a bunch of ideas that and I could just riff off of them, but I never start with a blank page. This does not take me very long. And Twitter's been a great platform for me where I'm getting a lot of signal, and I also get leads from there. And so that's how I do Twitter, okay? And because I'm doing Twitter, the other thing is I can just take the tweets and I could repurpose them for Instagram. And I could take the tweets and or LinkedIn posts and I could repurpose those for Facebook. And so I literally have my assistant just copying and pasting those on Instagram, Facebook. I've previously done that on Substack, and I might start again. The problem with Substack is there wasn't a scheduling tool that I found. And so my assistant was always posting those live. It was just a hassle. But I did just find a scheduling tool that we're going to try. And so we might be back on Substack as well. Because why not be publishing there if I already have the content that's going out in the same format? Twitter and Substack have very similar content style. And then lastly is email. And so with email, it's a little bit of its own system. I've also got YouTube. So let me actually start with YouTube. So YouTube, I'll basically take a lead magnet that I've done, a LinkedIn post that I've written, an email that I've written, and I'll explain it in further detail with a video. Kind of like I'm doing with this. I've written about my content system before, but now I'm kind of riffing, but I have my templates and my systems kind of pulled up, and I'm just explaining them. And so it doesn't take me that much effort. And then on the back end, I have my assistant who is going and editing these, helping me with a thumbnail, helping me get it scheduled, all of that stuff. So that's how I do YouTube, and you can see I haven't been as consistent with it. I try to do weekly. I've often done monthly, but I've had periods where I did weekly for a long time. And then with email, right now I'm doing 3 emails a week. And so every Tuesday I do basically headlines in social media, because that's what I do is social media. So I do headlines that you may have missed in social media and my top 3 posts of the week. And then every Thursday, I do my tribe emails. And so what that would look like is, so tribe, so T is a traffic tip, R is a revenue tip, I is an inbound tip, B is a brand tip, and then E is an email tip. And so I go through and I just give one tip on each of those from what I'm seeing with my clients, what I'm seeing with my own account, what I'm consuming. So those are the tribe emails. And then every Saturday, I do a breakdown. So for example, this week I'm doing Jasmine Alich, and I'm looking at his LinkedIn account. And the reason why is one of the best ways to get up to speed on any social platform is to look at people who are playing the game at a high level and doing really well, and breaking down like what they're doing and what you could potentially learn from them. And so I'll look at how many followers they have, number of posts, post types, like how many CTAs they're doing, what their best posts were. And so you can see the hooks. And then sharing my insights. And so every week we do somebody new, and you learn a thing or two each week. And so those are the 3 emails that I do. Because those are templated, they're pretty efficient. Throughout the week, I can think of, okay, what's my revenue tip going to be? And then a lot of times those will turn into LinkedIn posts if there's something extra interesting there, or some novel insight or something unique. A lot of times the actual tips are coming from ideas I've written about already in my LinkedIn posts. So as you can see, it's very like cross-pollinated. I'm trying to get leverage. I'm sharing the same ideas in different ways, and I'm trying to get them across all formats. And so that's how I'm personally doing it for myself. For clients, we will do something similar. If we're doing X, LinkedIn, and or email for them, we'll kind of build their own system. It looks fairly similar to this, maybe a little bit different depending on where they're regularly publishing content. If they have a paid community where they're doing group calls, that kind of thing. But high level, that gives you an idea of how I'm doing this and how I'm able to publish so many pieces of content across platforms, continue to grow my reach and traffic, and also my email list while I'm doing that. So hope that was helpful, and wish you the best.